market was like, okay, let's go to the next module.
Yeah, that key select stuff can get a little bit annoying. But we gotta follow it. Otherwise, you're gonna be having a no crank, no start.
With
A
the
bunch of
Christmas
code.
tree.
And that ain't gonna be good. All right, let me mute that. Let me get back over here and minimize this. I'm not gonna close it out. Let's get the
You
chat.
don't want to do that because you know what we're going to talk about if you do.
Yep. How I messed it all up and had to restart everything. But it was good. You guys came back, so it was fun.
So
What's
Daddy
up,
took-
Ian Skidoo? What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We're here. We're back. We're gonna be talking about. I got a lot of stuff written down here on the old notepad. Big shout out to Anthony. He's at home. He's sidelining watching. He might pop in the chat. Make sure to go out and check his channel, CP's Garage. He's got some content coming out and something he has on the back counter, whatever, with in addition to his OBS. And I don't know if you guys knew that these were out for OBS. If you guys are rocking those arrow-nosed OBSs, right off the rip, Ford Boss is working on one of our channel members' vehicles. This is a ruby red, and it needed some work, and he's in Chicagoland area and had to go see Ford Boss. And I know Krautster's listening, and why don't you say what you had to do to this particular vehicle, or what he brought it to you specifically for?
Well, I think you had previously looked at it and gave your thoughts on what you had a feel for. And then I reconfirmed that what you actually were explaining to me, I was like, I'm feeling the same thing. I'm feeling a little bit of a hitch plate and kind of like the drag link area, tie rod assembly a little bit, it's starting to get a little worn. And I went through and replaced it all. I just did it all. I mean, why even mess with it? Just do it all, get it all done while you're there. And he was experiencing some steering oscillation. I think it would be the more professional way to explain it, but we all call it death wobble. 40, 45, 50 mile an hour when hitting a bump. And about, I want to say I think it's like 16,000 miles or so ago, the steering stabilizer was already replaced. It was supposed to take care of that. Yet 16,000 miles later, it's kind of coming back. Through you looking at it and me looking at it, we were able to confirm that there's a little bit of wear going on there, and some components needed to be replaced and taken care of. So we took care of the customer. We didn't just replace the little pieces or whatever. We got it all done. We did it all that needed to be done. If there's any speculation at all, it was taken care of. And then the 7-way, the 7-way, we confirmed that there was a little corrosion on the main ground pin coming back, but everything was working. What, as a preventative, I didn't want to leave that in there. I could see some of the corrosion kind of going back into the housing a little bit around the pin. And I was like, I can't get back in there to that. I can't cut this housing open and then put it all back together. Got to replace it.
How many
use your partner?
How many of you guys in the comments have an issue with what Rich is talking about? If you know the 7-pin, 4-pin adapter, just to the left of your trailer hitch receptacle, if you open up those covers, I have came across a lot of green, and some on the back, not so many on the back, but how many of you guys have had to have that replaced? Super simple, Rich. I mean, it was just a couple little tabs we're squeezing, and
well, they couldn't find the part number at first because they were trying to give me the whole assembly, and I said, no. Aaron said, look this up. They punched in the number you gave me, and it popped up right away as a
hell yeah.
In the fuse. It was in that big square diagram that had all the fuses and stuff.
Yeah,
it was the top left one, and it said it is an option to just get that one part that was bad by itself. So I ended up getting that, making sure the connector was well greased, just light factory grease that they had in there. I didn't want to overdo it because they already had enough on it. So I was able to snap it in, plug the other part in from the back, verified everything worked. It worked. So we got him taken care of there. And then he ended up needing a set of tires. So we went ahead and took care of the tires. I think he said it was like $250, $300 less going through the dealership for the tires he wanted. And I think he talked to you a little bit about the type of tires that you would recommend and what to look for. So he went that route, found a set that he liked, and ordered those up. It was about $250, $300 less through us. So we got him hooked up there. And then
Did it reprogram?
the 20E07, which took a while.
Yeah.
That all went through
Always
fine.
takes a while, I swear.
It went through fine, but it was, you know, just to kind of cover some of the issues that we go through when we're doing these things. You would think that it would be clean cut and dry. When you start one module, you can confirm everything when it's finished and go to the next and go to the next and go to the next. But there were a lot of times in between modules where the computer wanted to see the same click on verify this, verify this, verify this. And it was the same thing. Set ignition on. Okay. Hit the check mark. Set ignition on. Okay. Hit the check mark. Set ignition on. So I go through this 3 or 4 times and I'm like, what's going on with this thing, man? Just click it, click it, click it. And it wanted to see the same thing over and over and over again. And then it would go to the next module. So there was obviously a little bit of an issue going from module to module to module, because when you have 4 or 5 modules that all have to be programmed, it's not clean cut and dry like a lot of people think. You know, you got to sit there and babysit this thing.
Totally do. Because then you might miss a prompt.
Here's an interesting fact. I told Crouster today when I was talking to him, I noticed with the upgraded tank and stuff that you had in there, it's amazing the amount of miles that you can go to E and what that thing says. It's like, and I looked at this and it said, before the 20E07 programming, it said 990 miles to E. I'm going through the programming. This is unique. I don't know why it did this. When all the updating and stuff was done in the PCM, everything had the new programming, it bumped the miles to E up to 998. The miles to E changed. It went up. It was like remapped or relooked at things or whatever it was, and they went up. And I was like, what the heck?
Hell yeah.
I was telling Crouster that, and he was like, wow, that's interesting. Okay, maybe good for me, you know, kind of thing.
It does constantly change based on if you were to put up a better mileage in real time, like a better real-time MPG, it would actually go back. It would actually increase. Like say all of a sudden you're getting like you were getting 15, now you're getting 18. It's going to take that into account.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it had something to do with the programming, resetting some things or whatever. It went up and I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. And then we got everything done, all the bulk of everything. What else did we do? It was the program. I looked at the unintended tailgate opening and I was like, no, he's not having no problem. And then I verified what Aaron said. I went back to like the TSB or the campaign that was out on it. And it basically states it's an extended coverage. So if the consumer is not having an issue, don't even get into it, because it is a complete freaking nightmare to get into the unintended tailgate opening. So I was like, thank God I talked to Aaron, because I was about to start ripping into this thing. And I talked to Crouster and he was like, no, I'm not having any of those problems. And I was like, good, because I didn't want to spend the next 6 hours ripping panels and pulling BCMs and splicing and relays and
water leak testing out the wazoo.
Go to the water hose, put water in this area, verify no water is going inside the cab. Now go to this corner and pull this grommet. And I'm like, man, get out of here. So I didn't have to do that. Got it over to the alignment rack. And maybe this is a tip you can give me. Maybe you can line me up on this a little bit. Got it over to the alignment rack. And I was having a little bit of an issue. Like what do you do first? Do you set clear view before you set tow, or do you set tow and then clear view?
Set tow and then clear view.
So I was,
because it's like you fit. Yeah, you do tow and then you'll wind up, steering wheel will wind up being off.
Yeah. So I was thinking the same thing, because it's been a while since I've done this on a Super Duty. So I set tow first. But here's the thing. When you have the drag link locked in and you loosen up the shackles on the passenger side and the driver's side, when you go to turn the tube to make your adjustments, you still got your drag link locked into your passenger side. So when you start turning the tube, that drag link locks in the passenger wheel and doesn't want to let it move, along with not letting the steering wheel move. And when you start turning the tube, you're actually moving the driver's side wheel. So I was like, this has got to be a combination of kind of, you have to pay attention to your numbers when you're setting your tow. You got to kind of get a feel for how the Super Duties are supposed to be aligned, or else it'll screw you all up. And I'm looking at the screen and I said, you know what? I'll bring the driver's side wheel out and I'll go over my adjustment, and then I'll move my steering wheel back, and I'll get my steering wheel where my passenger wheel, like the toe is set, and then I'll start to move my driver's side back in, and all of a sudden everything came in the green. And I was like, there's a little bit of a science to this. You have to know what you're doing, or you can screw this up. So I got everything in, then I set clear view, and I went for my test drive. And I noticed it was just a tad bit to the left. And I was like, I don't like that. I mean, I could let it go now, and he may not even notice that. I want that last little feather bump. I want it to be perfect. So I went back and I reset clear view and went on another test drive again. Everything was perfect at that point. The truck runs phenomenal. It's got a ton of power. He takes very, very good care of it. He's under the frame, wiping the frame and stuff off a couple times a year and everything. He's really proud of this truck, and this truck is just that.
If you guys want to know exactly what he's talking about, we were able to make a video with Krautster with some simple mods to this particular vehicle. We did S&B tank. We did a sweet transfer pump. Rich, that thing was pretty sweet sitting in the bed.
My service manager was like 6'4", 6'5", and he's walking by and he was like, what does he have in the bed of that thing? And I was like, you like that, don't you? And he was like,
yeah,
perfect, man.
Yeah.
Where's the other tank? And I was like, no, this ain't that kind of hokey pokey stuff. Put the tank in the back, and this is actually plumbed through the truck into the main tank. There ain't none of that. And he was like, dude, that is freaking wicked. I was like, Aaron did all that, so.
Yeah, it came out really nice. We were really pleased with that, and his application for filling up generators and equipment on set. I mean, his setup allows him to pump out 40 gallons of that 60 to fill up whatever he wants in diesel. So that's pretty damn cool. Dang cool. Matt Jedden, Eric, just want to say thanks for these lives. They've been a blast, very informative for us all. I can't wait till they come on lately. That's awesome. A lot of you guys out there have been giving us some great feedback and get excited to come out and hang with us and just talk trucks. I mean, you guys pretty much see what we're doing, going down, things that bother us, things that we would change, something that we're going to talk about. What would you change about your Super Duty? We have so many. We have the 11 through 16, and then we have a small 17 through 19, but they almost blend into the 20s because they're kind of the same, but they change some stuff into 20. So like when you think, I personally, now that I have an Alumaduty, I don't think I would want a steel body because I like the Alumaduty. I like the change that they made from those two, but the changes sometimes comes with things that you don't want or that you don't like. What would be some of the things that you change? Me personally.
So one thing that I didn't, that what we touched was one of his main concerns was the steering oscillation. That fixed it for me. I a certain spot where I know if there's steering oscillation at 45, 50 mile an hour and I hit this real rough bump, it goes all the way across the road. If there's oscillation, I'm going to feel it in the spot. And after doing the drag link and the tie rod assembly and stuff like that, I didn't feel anything. Super tight. So I'm hoping for now that fixed it. If that doesn't fix it and we feel it again, the plan of action is to upgrade to maybe a dual steering stabilizer setup instead of that single kind of weaker Ford steering stabilizer.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Do you put the dual on? Do you have just a single? What do you do? I've seen trucks come in. A couple of my clients have the dual, but a lot of the trucks that come in, I just have the single. Whether it is just the Ford, or if it's a Fox. I see a lot of Fox ones, a lot of Bilsteins. I'm still considering what shocks to put on my on my 20. Still trying to decide that. Maybe Fox. I'm not sure. We talked about that
well, maybe while ago. One of these guys that's listening to your show here, and they know that you're about that life. Fox, Rough Country, Bilstein. Somebody hook a brother up, man. He's looking for to give you a shout out. Hook a brother up.
I want to be able to provide a honest I wouldn't say review, like a trial, like, I'll take these off and put another one on and see how these are. Because, a lot of guys don't want the bumpy harsh ride. A lot of guys want it real stiff because that's just what they want to be like in a truck. Well, I don't want that rough feeling. I took from 80 psi and I went down to 60 psi, so I didn't have that. I softened up a little bit, but a lot of guys swap out the shocks. They don't like the OE ones, and I have recently replaced a couple of tremors. That was maybe 6 months ago or so. Front shocks; those things were leaking. I haven't done too many just regular Super Duty shocks coming in leaking, but that's a big thing that a lot of guys talk about are shocks. I'm trading those out. I don't want them. I'm still trying to make my decision on that. But one of the things that kind of bugs me is the armrest. And every time my wife is riding with me or I have somebody in the passenger seat, I got to get a key or a flashlight or whatever out of the center console. Oh, excuse me. Can you move your arm? I feel like it's an inconvenience for me to ask my passenger to move. Like if there was some sort of way that, I mean, I guess the only way the lid's going to be to open, but do you slide it? The F-150 has a thing that, the shifter goes down, the workspace, that thing flips forward. I like that. I think that would be a cool feature to have on a Super Duty, but then again, that leaves the whole, I mean, it's just, what are you going to do? I guess it's just kind of a pain in the ass. Excuse me, can you move your arm again, please? I got to get back in my, I
You
don't
just
know.
need to come back out with the captain's chairs.
What do you think about the 23s? Do you think if you're in a 20 right now, do you think you would upgrade to a 23 if the technology package was right?
I don't want to feel like I'm sitting in an F-150.
I know, dude.
And that's what I feel like I'm gonna feel when I sit in the 23.
I mean,
Now I
they've
haven't seen a
always-
23
Well, now these trucks are
up
like
close.
F-150s.
They've
used to
literally
be-
been like F-150 since like the beginning of time.
Well,
so I mean,
I don't
it's
like-
literally the interior's been the
Well,
same.
no, I wouldn't say the beginning of time though. I mean,
I don't like
have
the
you
new
not
version.
seen have you not seen the 40s F100 compared
Well,
to
11
like
through
F600?
11
they're
through
the
16.
same cab.
Yeah, yeah, you're not
Would you say
wrong.
11 through 16 was
They're
like
the,
different?
they're the same all the way up.
Oh, okay. Well, there is that. Like right now, if I get in my truck, it's like how my F-150 was. I had an 18. Now I got a 2450. The same interior, but I will
Because
say
they've been using the
not
same
huge.
parts because they're cheap.
I'm not huge on the new F-150 interior. Some parts of it I like. The bigger screen is cool. The steering wheel's kind of okay, but the shifter, they're gonna change the shifter. I don't feel like they should change that. They should leave that alone.
Yeah, I
If
agree.
they mess up the cup holders, I'll be upset if they mess up the cup holders.
50-50 half flip.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe the half flip, so where your passenger can keep their arm there, and you only have to flip up that one half to reach inside there and grab whatever and flip it back down. It doesn't inconvenience them, but then you bring into the picture another failure point. What if somebody gets on it, leans on it too hard? What if somebody's being careless and goes to rip that thing open instead of one big giant lid? Now you've got something else where it's an extra pivot, it's an extra parts, maybe more expensive now, and you've increased the risk of damage or failure because you're adding more to it. And we always talk about, why are they always trying to over engineer and add more to things that causes more stress and issues in the future? I think a half flip would be the answer to what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
would
I
agree
think
with that.
would be it.
I see a couple here. Camera picture quality. I just replaced a damn camera today, and boy, it was shitty.
I said it since day one.
It was bad.
If you go back to my original videos, when these new trucks started coming out, the newer body style F-150s, like the 2021 and above, Super Duties. If you go back to my video before when I started reviewing these, I explicitly said I don't care for the new camera quality that I'm seeing in these new trucks. It looks kind of distorted to me. Some people said I was being kind of picky because when I look in the camera, it looks like I'm 4 feet away from the vehicle, but when I get out of the truck and I look, I'm like 8 feet away from the vehicle. So how realistic it used to be and closer to the actual image, I'm finding it's a little distorted. It's a little pixelated in some areas. It's kind of fuzzy around the edges where they're trying to cram so much into these bigger screens and stuff now. I'm not digging it. I'm really not. And a lot of people are starting to tell me that used to criticize me for how critical I was of it, that they're actually experiencing the same thing. It's
Now, are
just
you
not.
talking about 21s?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, these ones, Sync 3, they're not too sharp. And the Sync 4s, I think the biggest problem with the Sync 4s is when you have that lighting contrast, like when you're going from dark or the sun's on it, it'll stay dark or it'll be completely white bleached out.
Mm.
And I think that is what makes it distorted. You know what I mean? Like I mean, it's a sweet screen. I mean,
Yeah.
when I get in, I'm like, God damn,
Yeah.
they're bad.
That part's nice. That part's
But-
nice, but I don't dig the camera, how they got it all set up and stuff. I just don't dig it.
I just
Yeah,
want
one
to point
thing
out
going-
something. Daddy Diesel, he's a big contributor to our community. Dasani changed their water bottles, and I'm pissed. Carrying on. It is true. F-150 gear. Yep. Hold on. I just saw something. Ram has better camera quality. I cannot confirm or deny that. I find myself never sitting in any of those vehicles ever.
There's a part of me that almost wants to agree with that because I think I remember the last few trucks that we've had traded in that I've had to look at. 3,500 diesel wise, I actually think that I vaguely remember saying, wow, this is actually not bad. It's not bad.
Remember when we didn't use cameras? Yeah, it's called mirrors.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
You mean like my truck?
That's what I was. That's what I was telling Coucher. I was like, that recall that Aaron was talking about is going to come out has already updated on your truck. It shows that it's actually active on your Oasis report. And I noticed when I first brought your truck in that when I went to go shift into reverse out of the parking spot, I could notice this bluish gray haze across the lens, almost as if there was like a piece of laminate or something coming off or something was partially blocking it from the inside of the camera. It wasn't like an outside fuzzy. It was an inside fuzzy. And then when I got in the shop and I did the bulk of my repairs and was taking the truck over to the alignment rack, I could tell based on the lighting and stuff that your camera was not functioning like you would expect. So his vehicle is going to end up needing a camera for that recall you were talking about.
Yeah, I just did one today.
Well, he made that comment that you just made and was like, well, I try to use my mirrors like kind of old school more than anything. I don't, the camera's not my main focus. I'm using my mirrors, kind of looking around.
I always use my mirrors, even when you're backing out of the stall. I mean, just for us, because we're in such close proximity and, backing out people walking and, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The only time I really use my camera is when I'm getting close to something. If I'm backing up into the garage or if I'm backing into a parking spot and I'm gonna, clunk somebody with my hitch in the back. It's, I mean, that's really the only time I use it because I am a frequent user of mirrors. I feel naked almost when I don't have my blind spot mirrors. Though I think I use those more than anything. Just it saves me from turning around because you literally can see your whole lane in that mirror. And when I'm in a car that doesn't have it, it's like, man, this freaking sucks.
Aaron, have you ever tried to just rely on the 360 view camera to maneuver the car in a parking space? Just denied the urge to look at the mirrors.
No, can't do it.
Run the experiment one day. Do it in an empty lot. Just try to back it in with just the camera. It will drive you nuts. Like you have to fight the urge to just check your mirrors. I can't do it. I've tried personally. I cannot do it.
My
can do it.
brother has had an Edge that had the self park. Oh my gosh! You talk
Oh.
about that. It was cool, but man,
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
That's a little
Whip
bit
the
too
wheel so
Skynet
fast.
for me, man.
Never thought we'd be harping over image quality of backup cameras. The times we live in.
I mean, I've seen
That's funny.
someone take the Mach-E down a certain highway in Detroit at 94 miles an hour with Blue Cruise
Ah.
engaged.
Wait, what happened?
I've seen a certain somebody go down a certain highway in Detroit with a Mach-E at 94 miles an hour, and he sends me a picture of his hands in his lap
Brave soul.
with Blue Cruise.
Daddy Diesel says he self parks. No way, have to use the mirrors. Totally. Barto, what is up, my man? DPS actually, I want to talk about this. He actually had something very interesting. He put in a complete 6.7 in an 11. And this was his personal service truck. He started it up and they immediately saw it starting to leak oil, and it was like the upper oil pan area. So they took the upper oil pan down, resealed it, put it back together, and it was leaking again. Takes the trans out, and he was able to see. No, he took the starter out and was able to see oil coming from above the starter now in that area. So he pulled the trans out, and on the back of the block, just inside of the starter, is an oil galley freeze plug. Brand new engine. Piston oil, pencil size oil stream out of that freeze plug. And I have personally never seen that myself. Throw a plug, but I decided to get a new plug order from Ford and installed it with Loctite sealant. Gosh, I hope that works for you, man. Kind of interesting and kind of pain in the ass at the same time, just for the fact you all know what you have to do the upper oil pan, and especially on a new engine where you think you're not going to have any of these issues. I totally feel you on that. Blue Cruise. No Blue Cruise for Super Duty. Well, at least not yet.
Have you seen the front end on the new Super Duty?
Yeah.
Obviously it's covered up, but you can see the headlights.
You guys think it looks like a Maverick?
It kind of looks like the 1917 through 19, in my opinion.
Nah, looks like a Maverick to me.
It's a little different, but it's still like a C-clamp. But
It looks like a Chevrolet to me.
And I don't like the way they're hideous.
Maybe it'll be different once you can see the whole thing. Once they take the camouflage off, maybe it'll tie it all together.
Camouflage.
We have had a bad batch of EGR valves for the cab chassis. My coworker has gone through 3 EGR valves. You guys know the difference between the two. The cab chassis are all cast. And if you guys have the pickups, you'll see the EGR valve on the front of the EGR cooler on that is all aluminum. I don't know what's going on with these cast valves, but not good. Erico, what's up? What up, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
I was hoping you came through. I commented on your video a little while ago.
Nice.
I've left him a few comments lately, trying to help out, trying to boost up that algorithm.
Get him hooked up over here.
Hey, the Erico Impact. I call it the Erico Impact. I didn't give you guys an update on that. I got that Thorin. Remember I showed you guys?
Oh yeah.
Holy moly, man. It's got to be the best impact that I've ever used for just general, everything. It's sitting on top of my box. I don't even put it away all the time. And people are,
Straight
can I
ripper.
use that? Can I use that thing, man? I can't get these lug nuts off. They go grab that Thor. It's like, whoa, right off. Oh.
Dang.
I've renamed it because I learned about it through him, and then everybody else was like, you got to buy one. You got to try it out and give us an update. That is a freaking ripper, man.
Hell yeah. I actually need to get mine rebuilt. I've had it for probably over 15 years. I just I've never had to really use it except for like tire rotations because I didn't do a lot of, taking cylinder heads and stuff off. But 3/8, man, I take a whole truck apart with 3/8 gun. Hey, you got a new 3/8 gun. But I've dropped it, and like one of the bolts that holds, the long bolts that holds, the halves together, like fucking busted. So I got 3 bolts holding on, and like air leaks out the one hole, but it's still
Who is it?
still
Snap-on?
good. No, it's a Mac.
I
don't have a
think,
Mac, man. It's
I think
Ingersoll
Mac.
Rand though.
You send it to me and I'll get it done for you. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, all right.
I think
right,
Mac,
all right.
the old school, a lot of people don't realize the old school classic Mac is the Aircat like 1200 rebranded. And that's my second go-to whenever the Thor, like I haven't had anything the Thor doesn't work on so far, but I would go to that old Mac Aircat rebranded or the Mac rebranded Aircat 1200. And the anvil's bigger and it hits harder. It doesn't hit as fast as some of the newer ones, but it's bulkier. So when it does hit, it tends to do things that the other more powerful impacts won't do.
Do you guys know anybody using the quiet impacts? We had a couple guys in Quick Lane and would, all you didn't hear though, it was just, but it was air. It was like a Ingersoll Rand. The guns were blue.
What do they have, mufflers in them or something that?
Yeah, something in the handle that just kind of ate up all the loud
Somebody.
singing noise.
Do they make
Like
any
noise.
torque?
They what?
Well, do they have any torque?
They were lower,
Yeah, okay.
but they were always using the torque sticks and then checking the stuff afterwards.
That works.
Senior Master 1968. What's up, buddy?
I'm going to give away a MG 725 away here. One of the live streams that we do. I got to order a new housing for the front. So I'm going to rebuild it myself. And then I'm going to give away here on one of our live streams coming up.
Hell yeah. We're going to have something ourselves too coming 75K. A couple things actually. One we've had showcased on the show, and I don't really have any need for it. And why would I just want it sitting when I'm not going to use it? I think you guys would be able to take use of that. So I'm gonna pass it on to somebody else. It's still in the box, ready to rock and roll. Ford Senior.
What's the oldest tool you got?
The oldest tool?
Yeah.
Well, set of tools. We had a service advisor who used to work on vehicles, and he had all of his tools at home. I was just starting off, and he's like, "I'll tell you what, you give me $600, I got my first 1/2 inch, my first 3/8 gun, 2 mother and knuckle breaking 3/8 snap-on air ratchets. Holy hell!
Yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Cutoff wheel, whizzer wheel, a couple of blowguns, and I think that was it. It was like that was everything that and to this day I still have the cutoff wheel. The plastic body's all falling apart, but I mean things still work. So that's the only thing I think I still have that is my air tool, which I don't use a whole lot of, guys. I mean, I've been using electrics. When I am using electrics now, I think back when we didn't have electrics and working on these trucks and being underneath the dash and you got the air hose. tilted up because you don't want it on the seat, and you got this, and it's like, man, it's so much nicer now. It makes it a lot easier having the electrics. Which, by the way, I've been going through batteries. I don't know. I'm gonna have to replace them. I plugging them in, and it's red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. Like something's wrong with the battery or something. I don't know, but love the electrics. Big fan of the electrics.
Mine is I have a CP 44-year-old air hammer. And one of the senior guys in the shop said, "You want this? I'm gonna get another one." I found out Cornwell has the same CP but rebranded Cornwell, and he bought the newer, updated, quieter one, but it's basically the same thing. And he said, "I'm gonna throw this away." And all I did was pull it apart, clean out the internals, re-greased everything, put it all back together while he was on vacation. And we had this. I was doing a Super Duty front end, and I couldn't get it was either the tie rod assembly or it was the drag link wouldn't come out. And I'm hammering on this thing. And finally it popped out, and Rob came by, and Rob was like, "What the hell was that? Where'd you get this new air hammer?" I was like, "That's the one you gave me." And you went on vacation, and I rebuilt it and pulled. He said, "You son of..." Yeah, 44 years old, and that thing's still one of the strongest air hammers I've ever used. And it's an old CP from back in the day where they actually made good quality stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why does my 2006 Ford F550 V10 not charge? Can you please help? I need it for work. You're gonna have to get a meter, pal, and figure out. You're gonna have to figure out some schematics and stuff. I'd start Googling them. They're on forums and stuff.
What year?
A 2006 F550 with a V10's not charging. Can you please help?
You got to remember, back in 2000, mid 2000s, Ford had a real bad issue with connections to voltage regulators. They had issues with the voltage regulators burning up. They had an issue where you'd get 10 new alternators before you'd find a good one back in that era. It's like 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. There, for a span of it, they were having a real rough time in the Crown Vics and the Super Duties and in the Ford 500s. It was a rough time for them for a number of years to get everything sorted out. And still today, we're still feeling that same effect with the alternators and stuff that we're ordering. So if you have a charge issue and it's not a connection or it's not a connector issue, and you've done the appropriate testing, like Aaron said, where you get a meter and actually test everything, you may run through an issue where you got to go through several alternators before you find a good one, because they're still out there. There's still plenty of them that are, if they're not just right with the way Ford wants them regulated, it's going to have a charge light on. It's going to be undercharging, overcharging. There's a number of things from that era that's still haunting us today with vehicles we work on.
Don't even say 500, bro. Oh,
I don't recommend
Christ.
getting any alternators from Ford. Just go right down to Napa and get yourself a Napa Gold or O'Reilly's high end one and be done with
I
it.
quit using Ford alternators that has any vehicle that's for the mid 2000s. I will not buy a full Ford alternator for it. I won't. It's just I have too many problems with them from that. I'll go to Napa, I'll get a Napa Gold, or I'll go to AutoZone and get their Gold Lifetime that's like new and it's not refurbished. And I've had better luck with them than I've had with the actual Ford stuff.
What we have, excuse me, we have Cigar 2 is lit. We have a lot of people in the comments right now. You guys are watching, a lot of senior guys. We have somebody who's been in the field a long ass time, Ford Senior Master 1968. He's been on the channel, and obviously he gets it. Obviously we get it. Everybody here at this little roundtable meeting, we get it. We get what pleasing customers is. We get what customer service is. We understand the sense of urgency that needs to be prevalent when working on a vehicle. and not lollygagging and so forth. All you guys out there, smash that like, and I want you to tell me, we want to talk about what is some of the things that you look at when you first are going to the dealer and your customer service experience, whether they didn't call you, or things were done you didn't authorize, or they're saying they can't find your problem and clearly you have a problem. Situations like that, a lot of that will affect your customer service and whether or not you're going to go back to that dealer, whether or not they took care of you, your expectations. We understand about meeting expectations for our clients, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't. There's a lot of loose ends that we have to tie up behind the scenes in order for all this show to come together to deliver this product to the customer. A sweet McNasty, an accurate diagnostic. Absolutely. That's got to be the first thing. Is this guy going to be able to even diag my truck? Having confidence in going to the dealer, or having confidence going into that mom and pop store to get your investment taken care of, your investment figured out. Service writer is a guy that keeps you guys from showing how much you guys are cared and work. Yeah, he's the middleman. Sometimes though, the customer wants to go around that service advisor and talk directly to us. Rich and I both have a lot of instances where this happens, and we're going for a road test, or we're listening to this and this, and making that personal interaction with that customer. It's not, I don't want it to be that, okay, here's my keys. Oh, the whole time, they're gonna call me. Oh my God, hey, you call every hour, like, hey, yo, check this out. Come here. This is what we're gonna do. That's how it should be. And I know some customers may be hard to deal with, and you have to deal, accordingly. But for the most part, 95% of the time, you guys, are pretty cool. Have notes typed out. Specifically when the problem's happening, a lot more detailed information to help us get to the root cause. I mean, you're helping us fix your truck. We're not there when it actually happens. So yeah, the service advisors take all the credit for our work.
Kind of.
Local dealer can't find a problem with my dad's 19 F-150. Pops on acceleration out of the exhaust when shifting between third and fourth. They can't replicate. Yeah, been there, done that.
Go with them when that type of stuff. When you know it's going to be a hard issue like that.
Yeah,
I tell the service writers all the time, and I get so angry with them when they don't do this. If this is a concern that you feel as a customer is going to be hard to duplicate, please call me up and let me go with the customer so they can show me what they're talking about. A lot of times they drop the ball there and they don't do it. And then I'm stuck for an hour or two trying to figure out what this customer is even talking about with the vague information that I have, when I could have directly talked to the customer and went on a test drive with them, and they could have showed me, that's it right there. That's the sound. That's how you duplicate it. Let me let you switch over, you drive and you feel it. Let's see what you think of the whole situation. But they don't do that. They forget, they drop the ball. They've got 1,000 things going on in there. Tell the customer, if they have time, that you can pull me off the vehicle for 10, 15 minutes and I'll go with them. As a customer,
Absolutely.
request that. Can I take the tech for a drive so I can show them what's going on? So I make sure that they get that warm and fuzzy, that they understand what my concern is.
We want you to.
Yeah.
We need the customers to participate. And I got a story I can touch on that one. This true story happened today. Advisor brings in this Honda Pilot, and they complained of some kind of noise. And he drove it at first. I guess we were all busy, and he couldn't really hear anything Exactly. He said he heard a lot of things. There's a rattle over here and a squeak over here and suspension over here and an engine mount over here. This thing's making all kinds of noises. So he goes and gets the lady, kind of brings her out, and he's like, and I'm listening to him next to me. He goes, well, I need you to describe the noise. I heard this, this, and this. She's like, well, I don't really know. It came from the car and it just sounded like a noise. And he's like, well, was it a grinding noise? Was it a squeak? Was it a rattle? And she's getting upset. She's like, I don't know. It's just a noise. And, he's getting frustrated because he needs something here. And she's complaining of a single thing when the reality is there's 5 or 6 things there, and the vocabulary didn't exist between the two of them to really get a clear communication of what that customer's expectation was. For all we know, the sound that she heard was a heat shield on a converter.
Yep.
And that's the new one.
Right.
The rest of them were fine. But, one of us drives it and we hear grinding brakes and a blown out strut mount and the thing's flopping around and grinding and squeaking. We fix all this other stuff and she still hears the rattle because that was never communicated. This stuff happens all the time. So you've got a customer going, hey, they ripped me off for $1,000 worth of work and it still isn't fixed. Yet from the get-go, nobody ever said, hey, that's the noise that I want fixed. That's the one. And sometimes they do need to ride with a customer, or we need to ride with a customer.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
and that process will snowball throughout and by the time it gets to the shop, it's, we don't know what you guys want. We don't know what the concern is because we've already gone through maybe 1 or 2 middlemen at that point. And if that communication doesn't start right from the beginning of the process, it's doomed to fail. On some level.
How many customers send you videos? What's wrong with my truck?
Yep.
What's wrong with my truck?
Okay.
Hey, do you know the sound?
Yep. And a lot of times I've already heard it and I could almost answer it over the phone a lot of times.
Yep.
Just because I'm getting that communication from them. They're showing me what the concern is. They're pointing out at that 12-second mark where that sound starts for like 4 seconds and then goes away. What's that sound? And I'll be like, were you pulling up to a light or coming to a stop and then going to take off again? Or it was like a stop sign? Yeah, I'm in my F-150 and I pulled up to the stop sign and I went to take off and I heard this tinging sound right underneath the driver. Well, there's a clamp that rots out down there and the shield bounces on the exhaust that crosses over. And you usually hear it when you're coming to a stop or going to take off. That resonation and vibration will bounce. Oh, that's it. I climbed under there. The clamp is broken or whatever. But it's because I got to talk to them and I got to experience from them what it was that I was able to help diagnose this. They didn't even have to come into the dealership. So I get upset about this all the time because it would be so much easier if I could just talk to the customer. A lot of times, I'm not telling you guys to go do this, but I'm known in my dealership for this. I'll go up there when they're there. I'll just go straight up there. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Johnson, Mr. or Mrs. Smith or whatever. I'm the tech that's going to be working on your vehicle. I'm just wondering if I can gather a little bit more information to ask you some of my own personal questions. Maybe it may help me out a little bit more. And at first, my dealership wasn't receptive to it because they thought I was going to be this angry, grumpy tech that was just going to be disrespectful. But when they actually learned that I handle the situation better than they do and I get a better result, my service manager was like, dude, I don't care. You can ask any questions you want. You want to call a customer up and talk to them or whatever, you're good, man. I know you're good with customers, so I have no problem with you. Some of it's trust. Some of it's learning how to communicate. Some of it's a control factor. A lot of the service writers don't want you in their business. They want to control everything. It's just, you have to feel out your coworkers that you work with, and you have to make it known that, hey, I need to talk to these customers, and there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. I got to be able to talk to them. You have to allow me that line.
We are trying to get the job done. Whatever we got to do. And if that means we have to interrogate the customer ourselves, that's what we're going to have to do.
Yeah.
Bottom line. I really like this guy's comment. What he wants when he goes to the dealer, the price and the confidence that it can be fixed. As confidence goes up, so does my willingness to pay more. I like that. I like that. Drop your truck off, your vehicle, and have that, oh man, I just want to have the confidence that I know I have a problem and it's going to come out and it's not going to have a problem. I don't care how much it's going to cost. Just fix my problem. Is that so much to ask?
They're looking for
Really?
value. It's value is what
Really?
they're looking for. It's not, the price is irrelevant. It's the value you get for the cost that you're willing to pay.
Ford
Yep.
Senior Master, it's been a love and a passion for 35 plus years for me. That's good, buddy. I know our bodies tell us otherwise. Attitude and
Uh,
demeanor. I know how I treat my truck. I know my truck well. I know how I drop my truck off to them. So I expect to pick it up in the same manner. Don't try to pull no funny stuff. Yes.
I had a customer come back to me 7 times before I could find the problem. And Ford was involved, but the guy, he's a United Airlines foreman for their maintenance stuff. And so he's very particular on how things get done by the book. It documented communication lines needed to be able to talk to me. And I told him, I will not give up on you. This problem is very rare that I'm seeing. I will not give up on you. I'll keep talking to you through the whole entire step of the way. If you could drop it off a little bit at a time until I figure this out. This is a very peculiar, weird problem that's going on. It was an edge where the lift gate would just randomly not open. And then it would be working fine for a month or, a couple of weeks. And then it just randomly wouldn't open. And it took 7 attempts at an hour or 2 each time in order for me to figure out going through connectors, ripping apart rear compartments and stuff like that. And then I finally found, I have a video on it. You guys can go back and find it, where I pulled apart the connector and I'm looking inside this last time that I had the vehicle. I knew I would find it. I just needed the time to do it. I didn't want to give up on them and I wanted to stay professional about it. He said, the number one thing that kept me bringing it back to you was the confidence that you were going to find it. You kept consoling me through the whole entire process. You didn't give up, and you were more than willing to work with me in my schedule when I could drop it off at the times I was able to drop it off. And he ended up paying me for all the labor tied up into this thing because he said nobody else could even come close to going where you were going. And at least you were giving me a result and updates along the way. And there was a main power pin where the curl of the pin that goes through the connector was snapped off. And it wasn't even inside the connector anymore. It had fallen back
Wow.
inside the weather packing, and it would lose its contact and start terminal fretting, arcing inside the connector, and it would cause issues. And I repinned it with one that I had in the back in our pin kit. I haven't seen a customer since then, but it's the confidence, the communication line, being able to talk to the customer, reassuring them that you are going to find it, and staying professional through the entire process. And a lot of people don't do that. They want to give up. They don't want to put the time. You have to understand, sometimes you're going to have to eat time as well to gain a
Mhm.
customer that's going to be there for a lifetime. You're going
It's
to make
just like,
that up. You're going to make it up on the back end. Just be true to the customer.
it sucks the shit that we go through. Like if you guys saw that short where I did that 650, 750 and I found that wire. I had this truck back before and it has been fine, a whole oil change interval. And it came back and I remember as I started getting back into it, I remember looking at that wire and Ford Boss and Bray CP, you guys know what I'm talking about. When you get, I got my pocket screwdriver, right? Take everything apart. And what is up, 44 Slat? Thanks, buddy. Any thoughts on 245 or 65s on 450? Let me get right back to that. Actually, DS,
Oh, yeah.
what do you got on yours?
I got 225s, I believe, the factory size.
Is that what they put on the front?
Yeah, the Continentals. So the factory size, I believe, is 225. What brand tires are you looking at? If it's 245s, it could be Michelin. 265s is probably not Michelin, but 265, that's pretty big rotating diameter.
Yeah, 44. Which one brand you trying to go with? Let us know.
I would say 245s would be about a pretty good size. It'll probably throw the speedometer off probably like 2 miles per hour on the highway, and should ride pretty good. 265 maybe too big. I don't know. I think that's the size Workplay is running, 265s.
Them big boys.
Some real big ones. So I think those might not ride as good on the highway. They might wander a little more. But they'd be better for off-road for sure. 265s.
It I love you guys' comments. You guys, I love the I love the interaction you guys bring each week. Um, if it wasn't so far, I'd load it and haul it. Have to rent a truck trying to keep business going. Dealer hung up as soon as I said delete. So I'm sorry, pal. You know, when we fix a pain in the butts, especially with what's up, Jeff, with electrical, when I found that wiring repair, it's the best feeling. Like when we dig that truck, we diagged that truck on live. Ford boss was at work, landscaping truck, salted to salt, seasoned heavily. Like that was the best. That was it. That was it. It was like Eureka. Ah! And that's some of the things that that we have to deal with. And when we get to that to the end, it's such a good feeling to know that we conquered, and especially like when you're trying to figure out and going back and forth. Like I know what boom, I found a broken wire. Ah, it was connected with one strand. Yeah, it was connected, but I couldn't carry a load. Remember to do your wiggle test, folks.
How bad
Well,
is
there's
that?
a, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how bad is that 350 I dropped off?
That's gonna be tomorrow. I didn't feel like doing any computer malarkey before I leave, and I have to babysit the computer to have it die for me to be. I'll do it tomorrow. I ain't even messing with it.
That's what I did with Krausers. I was like, man, if I'm gonna start this programming, I'm gonna do it first thing in the morning when it's cool and I can kind of multitask. I don't want to do this mid evening or in like later in the day and then have to sit here and nah. First thing in the morning.
Dude, it would be so cool if we could figure out how they turn that camera on the 22 at any speed. Like now that they've released that, how much programming, where in the programming, if they can or what, like where did they do that? Is it a different module now? A different platform?
That's gonna be all different.
Is it all different now for 22?
Well, Sync 4, yeah.
So do I have Sync 4? What do I have?
You have Sync 3.
I do have
Yeah,
Sync.
okay. His is 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you had the
don't
big screen, you'd have Sync 4.
Right. I don't have Sync 4, but for whatever reason, it lets me turn on the camera while driving. It's pretty sweet. But on the 20, you can't. 22, you can. Both are Sync 3.
Mm-hmm.
Limitless does have a harness. And I guess they're back in stock. A lot of guys have been asking about the camera on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad.
Oh yeah, he's got the kit. Yeah.
You know what it was like a little black box, probably the size like a pack of cigarettes that went down behind the infotainment, and you unplug the IPM-B, and yeah. Hey, longtime watcher with a 2014 F350-67 that's about to roll over 200 thou. Word. The truck's completely solid, 0 issues, but is there anything I should check out given the mileage? Well, I'm going to assume with that kind of mileage, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
I would just keep doing what you're doing. Don't forget about your coolants. We talked a few ago about brake fluid flushes. Don't know if you've done that, but next time you do a brake job, maybe throw that into the mix. What do you think, Fort Boss? Just filters and just normal stuff, pretty much. 200K is a lot of miles to be not doing something right. So,
I mean, has he had it since brand new? Does he know the entire service history of it?
S&S, that's a good one. DS Trucks.
Yeah, I would say if you got 200,000 and you really want to protect the investment, That's
Word.
P4 pump. If you don't already have the SNS, that could be one of those things that costs a lot of money. I mean, there's nothing holding those. I guess you call them pistons. What would you call those? They're in the cylinder. Or you call them little pistons.
Yeah.
There's nothing keeping that from rotating. Except, I mean, what if that spring gets a little worn out? Now that spring's been through how many cycles now? At 200,000 miles. I put an SNS on it if it's got that kind of miles, or
Yeah.
even lower miles.
Absolutely. SNS for the win on both. Yeah. High or low. Toxic pineapple. So what can we as customers do to make your jobs easier in addition to comprehensive steps to reproduce the problem? Be cool. A lot of you guys are cool. A lot of you guys understand that we don't have parts. A lot of you guys understand that we don't make the parts. We can only do what we do as best we can, and a lot of stuff that we have to order through the dealer, we got to expedite and call SCCC, and get prior approval and all that. There's a bunch of hoops and stuff that we have to jump through to get some parts, but it's unfortunately the process that we have to do to get parts.
How do you guys feel about cash? Like, say you drop off the vehicle and someone leaves like $100 cash under the table to the tech. Like, don't tell nobody.
Oh, you mean the tip?
Yeah,
no.
but it's not even a
No, that-
tip because it comes before. Yeah, I guess you can call it a tip, but even before you start, here's 100.
There's nothing wrong with that. My dealer, I've had plenty of people do that. Hey, thanks for the great service. I know you're going to do awesome. Here's $50 or whatever, or here's $100. I'm going to drop my truck off this weekend. Maybe just take your time, do a good job or whatever. And you know what? It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't like beer and I don't like wild game meat.
Yeah, don't do that.
Somebody get wild game meat.
Yeah, man.
You give me venison, I'll take it.
No, yeah,
I
give
don't
us
care.
venison and hold on, what's that little tiny bird? A partridge, like, man. I'm not messing
Quail.
with that stuff, dude. Give me I'll take some of that fine Kraft macaroni cheese in the box before I'm gonna be eating some partridge. Nope, not me.
Well, that depends on how hungry you are.
I am not that hungry that I'm gonna just willfully eat a partridge. No, I'm good.
Dude brought me a bottle of silver tequila from Mexico. He said I didn't want that gringo stuff from the
Oh.
United States. So as my aunt was coming back from Mexico, I told her to stop and actually get the real deal and bring it back with you. Don't get the stuff from the United States. And I still have it sealed in there. And I refused to drink it because he was like, this is not the $50 bottle of cheap stuff from here. This stuff is expensive, I mean, to them. You know what? I thought to myself, I can appreciate that. I'm not a big drinker anyway, but I have people often over for dinner or something that may like a margarita or something or whatever. So I'm like, that was awfully thoughtful of him.
Ooh.
That's
Brisket.
How about Gator?
Yeah, I probably
Yeah.
try Gator.
I love Gator.
Gator's
I
great.
did that tequila you just reminded me. Yeah, a customer, I put an engine in a GT500. It what happened to that? It dropped the
Dropped the
valve, man.
valve?
Yeah, it smoked it was bad. So I had to replace the whole engine. The whole thing, that was like 25 grand for that engine. It was not,
You put a blower on it too?
No. Had 1,000 miles on it. That really sucked. But I provided a service to this guy. He was, his car was all, doodadded up and, personalized. And I got to take your engine out, and it's a manual, so I can't leave the trans in. So that means I'm going to have to take my trans out too. Put the whole thing back together. Everything was great. He comes to pick up his car and straight up gives me a bottle of Dom P.
Yeah.
Which I still have sitting because
Yeah.
I don't drink. But it was cool. I mean, I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. So that's it. I guess let it get it fermented more. Frog
They
legs.
do it
No,
a little bit
frog
more.
legs. Ain't doing the frog legs, man. Nope. Nope. I want to do sushi, but I'm not a raw fish dude. I'd rather
I
get
love it.
splashed with diesel than eat sushi.
Can I
love it.
take you out for sushi?
Ah,
Real, I know a guy. He like makes it. I'll
Big
take
meat,
you
big
out for
meat.
sushi. I'll take you can
I'll
come.
be
pick me, pick me.
big me, big me.
I'd like some bulgogi and some gyoza. Now we're talking. Look it up.
Sounds close
It's
to something else.
good. It's good shit. Gator tails. Oh man, I don't know. I ain't never had that. Rattlesnake. Nope, never had
Good,
that.
good.
Hertz Rent a Car, that just reminded me. Have you guys been seeing people renting U-Hauls and pulling the engines out and put them in different cars and taking that engine out and putting them back in the U-Haul trucks and then going back and turning the truck back in?
Oh, yeah. Been hearing
I
about
like
that.
have just heard about this. I'm like, are these guys for real?
They've been doing that for years, man.
Where have I
Years.
been?
I remember when I first started working at Hertz as one of the mainline diesel techs. Jack, our foreman in the shop, said, "Man," he said, "you should have been around back in the day whenever the Hertz Gold Shelby GTs we would get. They'd come and rent them, pay the premium for the vehicle. They'd take their regular Mustang, they'd take the engine and stuff out of the Shelby, they'd swap it over to their regular Mustang back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s. And then they would take the regular one and put it back into Shelby, and then they'd turn around and deliver it back to, hey, we're done with our weekend trip or something like that, our trip around Chicago or whatever, Detroit, and we're all done. Give the vehicle back, and nobody knew any different, and they just swapped that whole entire engine over.
Wow, no
Come rent
kidding.
the vehicle.
Yep.
They'll take the tires and stuff off of it. They'll put the tires on their vehicle.
Wow.
They'll take their worn out tires and put it back on the rental and then turn it back in. It's better than paying $1,000 in tires when you can spend $60 in rentals and get new brakes and new rotors and new tires and everything else and swap it all back over.
Brakes, too.
Yeah, everything. He said they people would be thirsty and they'd take whatever they could.
Dang.
Mm.
What do they
Those-
got in U-Hauls now? 7.3s, 7.3 gas. Pretty good engine. That
Are you
need-
digging it? Well, before you gave it to me?
Once I get it back, dude. You know what? Honestly, it is kind of this. As far as towing, from my experience, it's just as good as a 6.7. As far as towing,
Yeah.
6.7's way faster, but you don't go that fast when you tow anyway. So for me, the 7.3 does the same thing.
This is for Brian because he thinks it's Matt. It's not Matt. It's sparkly. But that's another story and possibly a video. I don't have no time. I'd like to make one.
Yeah. Same with me. I'm dealing with so many customer things and having to stay late and come early and everything else with stuff I'm dealing with. I got an 85 Thunderbird sitting. I got an 01 Dodge Ram I've been going through. It's put thousands of dollars in. I can't even finish all my own personal projects that people are asking about.
Oh, I know. We have a couple of things coming up. That big boy brake kit. I'm excited about that. I'm still looking for shocks. We're going to be talking about that because I want to make that move hopefully before we have to start dealing with the winter. And I don't want to be doing that in the winter. I will, but I don't want to.
If you were here, you could just come take mine.
Oh. A bottle or a tip is appropriate. That, yeah, Enterprise.
Cody just got me a $50 tip.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's
Cody
good.
did. It's a long-time subscriber that's been on my channel. I've helped this dude with everything that he's needed help with, and I would reach out to Cody because Cody knows a lot about the Mach-E stuff, and I'm just starting to become more familiar with it. And I reach out to him and talk to him about some update stuff that have to be done on the Mach-E's, and the guy was like, I dropped off my Mach-E at the dealership. It was there for a couple days or whatever it was. And they told me the programming for the Blue Cruise failed. But for some reason, I went out there to start up my car after I received it back from the dealer. Now all of a sudden the Blue Cruise is working. Do you think maybe I have to reschedule, or did something happen that maybe they just missed when it said programming failed? And so wait a second, I know a guy. Let me
No guy.
let me reach out.
I know a guy.
Let me reach out to him and have a conversation real quick. I'm going to look into it as well. And sure enough, as he was looking into it and kind of updating me on what he was seeing, I started looking into it, and he lined it out for me and explained it a little bit better on the timeline. What ended up happening is, I guess the programming failed on the dealer side, but the OTA picked it up and actually programmed it and went through. And now it's green across the board, and the customer says Blue Cruise is working, just flawless. And I took the criteria that he needed to send back to the dealer, so he didn't have to schedule another appointment and sit there for another 2 days. And he was like, dude, I can't believe you guys are so awesome, man. This tech community and stuff, helping everybody else out. And he said, I'd like to at least donate to your channel or something like that. Could I at least get? I said, no, don't get, I don't need anything, man. Don't donate to me. Don't do, just subscribe and watch the videos or whatever. And he was like, no, I got to give you something. So he's like, I'm sending you a $50 Amazon gift card, whether you like it or not, just take it. And I was like, hey, all right.
Okay, I could do that. I could do that.
I've seen Blue Cruise update OTA through OTA while it's sitting in a dealership's parking lot, waiting for the
Yeah.
OTA update, or
Yeah,
waiting for
that's
the
crazy.
update to be done by the dealer.
That's crazy. That's
And it
absolutely
closes
crazy.
it out too, and they get charged like they get in and it's all updated. Like, what am I supposed to do? Then they look and it's gone.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Ooh.
yeah, OTA.
OTA tells
Just
you a
gotta-
lot.
Just got to make sure you have your OTAs turned on.
OTA.
Yes, Brian, multiple New Mexico plates. Thoughts on the Ford Lightning that Hoovy posted earlier today? I would like to see a Lightning, but I don't know of this video you're speaking of.
I've seen them have some SOBDMA problems right out of the lot.
Who has the highest? I can't talk. Highest mileage vehicle amount in the group?
Me.
Yeah,
Me.
We got
I got 426.
I've got 558
Oh,
and
558.
425 on the Volkswagen.
We got some oldies.
my old truck is brand new. I got like 225.
Dang.
Awesome.
I got a 04 Hyundai Elantra with 426 and some change.
I have a 06 Town Car with 251. I have an 07 with 31,000. I have an 85 Thunderbird with 109. I've got an 01 Dodge Ram with 168. I got an 07 Sierra with 158,000 and a 2013 with 168,000.
Dang.
I got a 2020 F450 with 20,000.
Listen, he's gonna get into the big money stuff now.
I have a 1983 that just turned 8,888 miles.
That thing is freaking sweet, dude.
The thing's
That
mint.
thing-
It's clean. I like it.
I was talking to Aaron about it, and he showed me a little sneak peek, and I'm like, man, wait a second now. He's that's for a later.
like it
That's
a
for a later
lot.
show. That's
I
for
like
a
it a
later show.
lot.
I was like, bro, come on, man, show me some more of this thing. And he was like, no, you got a little peek. That's it. That's all you get. That thing's worth the money.
Yeah, I like it. It's straight preservation mode. Straight preservation.
That's like a
Uh,
Woodward Cruise kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Carl Guinness. I joined a old Facebook group of that era trucks, and there's a lot of cool ones that other guys have. You know, a lot of good examples of what trucks used to be. You see assembly lines in old pictures or something, and it's like, you look at this guy, He's building this truck. It's like back then, these guys had their heads on. These guys cared about what they were doing. They went to work and they liked what they're doing. That's not today. Too much digital. This is corrupting our workforce. We can't go to work and just work. Yeah, we can mix that. But when you have too much, then nobody's task is on hand.
I love being on my phone at work, dude. I love it.
Because you're the boss.
You're the only
Dude.
dude I know that's on his phone and can weed whip at the same time.
The same time, dude. If I would, when I was at Ford, I couldn't imagine going to work without my phone and headphones. As soon as you walk in, put on those headphones, you got 10 hours of
I
just.
hate that, man. I hate that, man. We have a guy at the shop that when he comes to work, you could tell he's a little, I don't want to say special, but I'm saying special. He's up and coming new guy. Not up and coming, he's just a new guy that we want to see if he works out, and he's a good kid, and I've been trying to mentor him and try to give him that knowledge, but he'll put those earpieces in and I'm like, hey, and then he's like, oh, what? I'm like, dude, are you freaking not paying attention, man? Can I not train you? Can you not focus? Do you have to have those things in? Well, it keeps me on track with what I'm doing during the day, and just a lube tech, and it's so boring down here. If I put my headphones on or whatever, at least it's some excitement while I'm doing my job and it doesn't make me hate my job. And I was like, you know what? That does kind of make sense. And I would think about what DS would say before when we were talking about him being with his headset on and stuff and doing the same thing repetitive every single day. Man, that's got to get old, man. You got to have some kind of entertainment or something going on to stop yourself from just being like, man, I hate this every single day.
Dude, you could read books all day long on Audible. All day long.
Yeah.
You just read books from start to finish. Just books that take so many hours that you never get a chance to do that in the normal life or just out in the real world. You never sit there and do that. But when you work on the line, what else are you gonna do? Argue with people? That's what it's like. Like in a dealer, it's different. Like you can work with a guy like Ford Boss. Well, it's a different thing. But on the line, bro, if you're not wearing headphones, you're just arguing with people.
Oh, I'll keep you awake and entertained in my place. Trust me. Believe you me.
Believe that.
Guys, the only person that had a problem with me wearing headphones was the guy who was picking on me. He comes up to me and he goes, man, where you from? Like it was a group of guys standing there. They go, man, where you from? Where you from? And I go, I'm from Detroit. He go, man, you're not from Detroit. You from East Point. You probably play hopscotch. So he goes, his name's going to be Hopscotch from now on. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah. So for like 5 years, this guy calls me Hopscotch every time he sees me. There's Hopscotch. What up, Hopscotch? Man, it got to the point where I put on my headphones and just ignored him so bad for like a good 2 years. And he'd be like, we'd be walking out. He'd be 200 feet behind me. Hopscotch. Hey, Hopscotch. I'm walking out of work. And this chick I'm walking out with, we always walk out. Nothing's going on. We just walk out together to our cars. And she goes, hey, I think Angelo's talking to you. I was like, I don't know Angelo. I ignored it for 2 years.
I don't know who that is.
All you got to do is just come up with another nickname. Just come up with some dumb nickname for him and just refer to him as that until he gets the picture.
Yes. You do realize you telling these stories about being, on the phone and the headphones and everything else. Some of these people in the comment section are thinking, is this the motherfucker that didn't put my sunroof drain on from the factory because he was into that?
Oh, burn.
That's how it happens too. Someone's in their own little world and They forget
Is
to plug in
this-
sunroof
is-
drain.
Is this the dude that forgot to snap the little vent on the back of the Super Duty cab together? Now all the water's getting inside there.
Dude's been watching the last 10 seasons of Lost while building these trucks, and I forgot this one over here.
I gotta catch the next episode of Chicago Fire, man. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
Slow the
right.
line down. Slow the line
Yeah.
down. Let me get this fired up.
Dude's already calling that he's over here telling these silly stories. He's gonna wind up getting a new nickname over here, 430 Gears. And welcome back, everybody. We have the team. What the hell just happened? Oh, he couldn't take it, fellas. He
Go.
was tired. He was peer pressured, and the cat got his tongue.
Did he leave?
Oh, he's back. We don't
Oh,
know what
God.
happened.
Thank God. Don't leave.
Hopscotch is hopped back into sorta.
Aaron, you better stop me. Aaron, you better stop.
What I meant,
What happened?
There he is. Oh
yeah,
man.
that was one of the guys. He'd be like, he'd come up to me, we can't hear you. You can't hear us. You're wearing headphones. I'm like, man,
Ain't nobody trying to hear you anyway.
Lost hopscotch. Must have lost connection. Yo, DS, where'd you
What
go,
happened?
bro?
Don't they have these new things? Don't they have these new things now that you can wear while you're at work? And some guy was like, I understand what you're saying about having the headphones in and it being a safety issue and stuff like that, because I don't like guys around me wearing headphones and earpieces. I do not like it. Like if you have your phone thing in and it's just to answer calls and stuff, that's one thing. But when you're like listening to music and stuff every day with the type of work I do and how I've almost hurt myself and permanently injured myself multiple times, and I know other people the same thing. If somebody needs help and I got those things in, I can't hear them. But there was a dude that was like, they actually do make upgraded headsets now that are called like Bones or something like that, where you can hear the noise coming in.
Oh
You-
yeah,
you
I
can
think I've
actually
heard
hear
that.
Mine
You can
mine
hear.
has what they call like pass through. And you can hear the outside world better than without.
So
I
they're
don't know.
making
I wear
newer
the,
stuff now.
I wear the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones. I've been wearing them for years. They're tuned to block out noise, but if someone's saying something, you can hear it. It's not tuned to block out voices. So if someone goes help, you're gonna still hear.
Well, that's what one of the guys was saying, that some of these headphones are so smart that if somebody starts talking to you or somebody needs help or something like that, it'll automatically dial down what you're listening to so you can hear what's going on around you.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
you can change the noise canceling levels and all that stuff to where.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, dude. Every time I go to work, I got a podcast going, a book going, or something like that. It's usually-
Mm-mm-mm. Hopscotch building the trucks on Friday. Buddy's back. And now we're going to end this. It's been awesome each time we talk to you guys, hanging out with the live stream. We love the feedback from you guys. And it's like we all just hanging around chilling and making fun of hopscotch and 430 gears and dysfunctions in our daily routines. Everybody, until next time, CP's Garage, DS Ford Boss, and Rain Man, we appreciate you guys. Good night, Toxic Pineapple, Alex Wolf.